All right. Welcome to episode 15 of the For My Dogs podcast. Oh gosh, what is this?
Just soak
Is
it
this
in,
like
Tucker.
is this Taps?
This is our battle hymn.
Georgia's battle hymn? I didn't even know they had that.
This sounds amazing. And what is even more amazing is what you're wearing, Tucker.
Yeah, it does not feel right.
Hey, you're a
Does
man of
not
your
feel
word.
right.
You're a man of your word.
I am a man of my word. I held up my end of the
I didn't
bargain.
know if I dropped it off, but I didn't text you, and I was like, what if he just shows up? But for everyone that's listening and can't see, Tucker is wearing beautiful red, and not for the Carolina Hurricanes and not for NC State. He's got a beautiful
Unfortunately
Georgia
not.
hat and a back-to-back national champion shirt on.
Yeah, see the shirt, that's what gets me. I hate that it says back-to-back national champs on it.
Hey, but you made the hat.
I did make the hat, so yeah, that one I can at least live with knowing I made it and Georgia didn't profit any money off of it.
Oh man, but listen, I'll be honest, I did not see that game coming at all. I did not see the outcome like that. I was surprised game day picked all of us. But it was our first home game in 37 days. We haven't had a home game in over a month.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, this is our first ever episode with two guests, not just one, but two very special guests. Two of my buddies, Alex and Josh. Thankful to have them on the podcast. So Josh is also a huge Tennessee fan. And Alex, I don't know, are you more of an App State guy, NC State? Who's your main team?
I don't really have one that way. I don't have to lose these challenges. So
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, I talk about the big game last night. I saw it coming. I expected that was going to happen, but gosh, it hurt. Even though I knew that is what was going to happen. Like first half gave me a little hope, and like everybody was doubting us in the national media, so I wanted to prove them wrong so bad. Not that I'm doing it, but I wanted Tennessee to prove them wrong so bad that it just hurt. It just hurt. Well, I don't know what your thoughts were, Josh.
I mean, I'm still hurt right now too, but I knew it was gonna be tough going into Athens, playing a night game. I mean, it always is a tough place to play. I think it was like 27 or 29 straight home wins they had. I saw yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, it's tough to go in there and play and win.
Yeah, they haven't lost a home game since 2019, which is just mind blowing.
That's crazy.
Between the hedges, man. I was nervous having Josh on here when he says it's gonna be after the Tennessee Georgia game, because I was like, God, should we lose? This is gonna be so annoying with the two of y'all. So I'm glad that on his own outcome, I'm not getting ganged up on this one. But hey, listen, I mean, but Tucker, you said that like all the podcasts and the media that I was listening to, there was all Georgia fans. They're all saying we were going to lose. So like I was, like even like the Georgia fans did not think, because Carson Beck, that game he played yesterday, he has not played a game like this season. So he finally followed up.
Well, it's interesting because you've told me every week that you're frustrated with Mike Bobo because they keep throwing it deep all the time and like they don't do short passes.
It worked.
And dude, last night, that was all it was short passes. You threw a couple deep balls and, connected on one crazy catch, but like it was all short passes. And then so we didn't have time to even get pressure on Carson Beck because he was getting rid of it in under 3 seconds most of the time. So, I mean, just an incredible offensive game plan from Mike Bobo. I know you're his biggest fan, so you probably love to see that.
It's not incredible. Mike Bobo just heard the podcast, and he was like, you know what? Let's try this game. But that's what happened. But no, I mean, I'm still like that. Just because we won a game does not mean that I'm now a Bobo fan. Like, I still think he should leave. But that's besides the point. Yeah, well, I don't know what the playoffs are going to be like. I think that Tennessee should still be in there. I think Bama should be out. I don't even know. Hopefully Georgia is definitely in there now, but the SEC is all crazy.
Well, yeah, and I have no idea how the SEC championship, like I don't know what they use to determine who's going to be in it if you have a bunch of teams tied at the top. Like, I have no idea how they figure that out. But people keep talking like Alabama has a chance to get in to the SEC championship. I don't know what has to happen for that to take place, but their last 2 games is Oklahoma and Auburn. I mean, they just
they played Mercer yesterday. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, like they're not. They're gonna win out. So I don't know what that means for the SEC championship race. But I told you immediately after the game, I was like, they're gonna keep us out of the playoff. That was also part of why this game hurt so bad. Is I just have this gut feeling like because we have that Arkansas loss, they're going to keep us out of the playoff. Even if we go and beat Vandy by, more than 2 touchdowns, I still think we'll get left out. And, we need a lot of things to go our way to make it in. And I just, as a wounded Tennessee fan, I just know that we're not going to have things go our way to get into the playoff.
The Polynesian pistol just firing blanks.
I think I saw we didn't have a single pass over 20 yards. That's
Well, Dante Thornton should have had that one, and he dropped it. He went panhands mode on that one.
Yeah, we got to get Nico some receiver help next year.
This
rough
on defense.
Yeah, Alex, what are your thoughts as a neutral party in this whole thing?
I don't know. I mean, I was actually at a little Friendsgiving thing, watching the game with a bunch of people, and there was a couple of other Tennessee fans there. And y'all went up 10-0, and I was sitting there cheering, and none of them were. And I was like, "Oh, this seems like this happens often." So, and it exactly happened. I mean, they started out lights out, and it just kind of came back at them. So, I don't know why Tennessee seems to do that multiple times, but I guess their fans are just always never happy until it hits 0. So.
Oh yeah, we're always waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Yep,
always. But yeah, we started off. We actually reversed how we've been playing in every other game in the season. Usually, we start off and the first half is just abysmal. We can't move the ball. Our offense turns the ball over in the red zone or something like that. And then in the second half, we come alive and we finally start moving up and down the field. In this game was just the complete opposite. We came out in the first half. First 2 drives were great. I mean, we were moving the ball, run game was working, and then, the second half, we didn't score a single point. We didn't even really move the ball into scoring territory.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because we were getting dominated in the trenches. I don't know what it was, but, it was just a lackluster meltdown in the second half on the road. And even though I knew that was coming, I saw it coming, it just still hit me like a ton of bricks, which is unfortunate.
Tennessee does not do good on road night games. I don't know what, that is a recurring thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a thing since Heupel's been there. I don't know what it is.
You rely on the Newland effect.
Yeah, I do. I am curious how that game would have gone if it would have been at Neyland, but
yeah,
we'll see.
But
because who knows what Georgia's going to be next year? But this year just felt like this was the most gettable you guys have been in a long time. And who knows what you guys will be next year? Who knows what we'll be next year? So
yeah, our top 2 running backs were out during that game, so I was sweating about that. Yeah, y'all came out and we punted on the first couple of drives because we couldn't do anything there. And then, man, I would have loved to be in the locker room with Kirby Smart yelling those guys. I bet he gave one of the best halftime speeches.
He's good about that. He's really good at making adjustments at the half.
Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, I'll put him into a higher gear. And that's what happened. And so I the whole time, even in the beginning of that game, I was saying it's over. We lost, and I didn't want to watch the game with you, Tucker, because I was like, I don't want to watch this game with you because I don't want to be there when we lose. So I had no faith in us at all. And then a whole different. Actually, it felt like the old Georgia was playing. That's why I liked it. Those short passes. Bubba was listening to him.
Yeah, and and I'm not one. We would have lost that game whether the refs made questionable calls or not. They could have called the best or worst game ever, and we still would have lost just because we didn't play good enough to win that game.
Yeah.
We got out-coached, honestly. But, man, that the face mask penalty that was not a face mask. Sorry,
Yeah.
Johnny, but it was not. He just tackled him around the neck, and his helmet came off. That if they didn't call that, they gave y'all 1st and 10 at the 50. It would have been 3rd and 8, and who knows what would have happened. But that's the drive y'all went down. You took the lead, and then all the momentum, everything we had going for us just deflated at that point. I looked to that as the moment the game changed.
I mean, I would
In
be to
y'all's
say the
favor.
same thing, but one bad call's not going to okay. But I would, if I was the same player.
Yeah.
But it was
I'm
fun.
not saying that call is the reason we lost the game. I'm just saying that's what turned the tide, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it was
Also,
it
Carson
was,
Beck he was throwing passes that he hasn't thrown all year. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't make, like, I don't know if that one where he was in like triple coverage and you just threw it right over his head perfectly in the pocket. It's like, he hasn't done that all year.
no,
Yeah,
that
they
was,
must have threatened to take the Lamborghini away, so he had to make sure he was going to sling it real
Or
nice.
his private jet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a private jet. Yeah. No, I know. And then he did that weird celebration with the lineman where they like do-si-doed or something. I was like,
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah.
That was strange. But yeah, I told you before the game, I said, dude, Carson Beck's going to throw like 300 yards, 3 tutties. I mean,
He did. It was amazing.
And yeah, he went
Yeah.
off. And I go back to, I saw it coming from a mile away. And then it still just, gosh, made me so upset.
Johnny, who's your favorite Georgia quarterback in the last like 5 years or so?
It's a hot topic. I love old. I love the old mailman. I know everyone hates him, but I love him. I mean, yes, he's cocky and he has his own issues, but it's definitely not Carson Beck. Now, it's not Joe Cox, the one we had before. Stafford was good and Jake Fromm was good, but like, I love the mailman because he was an animal. Like, say what you want about him, say his attitude was awful, but he was an animal. He would take that ball and run. Carson Beck can't run. He's slow as all get out. He looks like Sid the Sloth from Ice Age.
Ran for a touchdown last night.
He did. It was ugly to watch, but he did.
Yeah. When Josh asked that question, I said, please don't say Stetson Bennett.
Oh, you
In
know,
my
I love
mind, that's
Stetson.
immediately what I thought.
That's what I was expecting to be honest.
Yeah, I love
But I
Stetson.
mean, I get it. He won you 2 national championships, so
I mean, come on.
whatever. I get it. Well, yeah, it was a big sports weekend overall. Did you guys watch the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight on Netflix?
Oh yeah.
Did y'all watch all the fights or just the main event?
I watched the girls fight before. Was it Katie Taylor and I forget the other girl's name, but we watched that one before. That was a good fight.
Yeah, I think it was Amanda Serrano was her name.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so mad at the outcome of that. I don't know. I want to watch boxing more after watching that, honestly, but I don't know how the scoring works. But just watching the fight, I was like, Amanda Serrano has got to win this fight, especially with like the headbutt point getting taken away. I just thought she was dominating, but then they were like, by unanimous decision, Katie Taylor, and I was like, wait, what? But I don't know the specifics of boxing scoring.
Yeah, I don't either. They beat the crap out of each other. That was a good fight.
Oh yeah, that was honestly better than the Paul Tyson fight.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like honestly, I was mad that I stayed up for the Paul Tyson fight. That
Yeah,
was
me
just kind of a
too.
letdown. And there's all kinds of theories flying around about how it was staged, and like I saw this one thing where a guy was saying that every time Tyson like bit his glove, Jake Paul would slow down. I was like, oh, that's not good if that's what was happening. But man, at 58 years old, if you're going 8 rounds in a boxing match, that is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't care how sad it looked while it was happening. Like, that's impressive.
Did y'all's Netflix buffer like crazy too?
Yeah.
Ours actually was pretty good.
Mine was not working at all.
Yeah, I feel like Haley and I got lucky. Ours actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I saw a meme where it says that I was fighting with Netflix during the fight more than Tyson.
Yeah.
But the last time Tyson fought was 2005. Like this, I mean, it's not impressive. I'm sorry. Like either like that Jake Paul won.
Yeah. And
They
Jake
said
Paul,
yeah,
he has such a punchable personality that I wanted him to lose that fight, but I heard them talking about his story beforehand, and I actually feel like I gained some respect for the guy because he was talking about, or they were talking about how like he was in a really bad place, was like really had a drug and alcohol problem, a lot of mental health issues. I'm assuming they mean like really bad anxiety or depression, going through all that. And boxing for him like saved him. It gave him a sense of purpose. And so now he's like using boxing to try and lift up other people. So he's been a huge advocate for fighter pay, a huge advocate for women fighters and like propping up women's boxing. So I thought the story behind him was really cool and actually made me respect him more than I did going into the fight. I was really hoping he would get knocked out just because I struggle when people are just really arrogant and cocky. Like that just grinds my gears, but I got to give it to him for, figuring out what his purpose is and attacking it and going after it. And I mean, he's done pretty well so far.
Yeah, but he hides all his kindness with being a jerk to everybody else.
Yeah, but that's also the hard thing about boxing is because you kind of have to be that way to promote the fight, to build up all the anticipation and all that. So I highly doubt he's like that in real life. But who knows?
Yeah, I saw this as a talking point of ours, and I was curious to kind of see what you guys thought on this, but just kind of difference between sports and entertainment. Obviously, the best you can have is a blend of those two, but kind of I feel like sports has been a little bit of an interesting place with, Netflix and all these other kind of crazy promotional events. Like, what do you guys kind of think as far as when do you think the entertainment piece becomes too much where, all right, seems kind of scripted, or it's all about the views and mass media or, generated revenue versus the true kind of integrity of sports and, what makes that fair for people to grow up, train for it, want to be competitive and go on to be these awesome sports athletes. Like, do you think him just kind of jumping over a lot of people and all of a sudden he's fighting Mike Tyson and didn't have to kind of go through the traditional route, or are you guys a fan of it or not really?
I hate that he's not done the traditional route. Like, someone made a joke that he's gonna call out Muhammad Ali because he's dead, and like just to fight that. But yeah, he calls out random people, but like Mike Tyson still got like what $40 million off of it. I'll get
He's
getting
paid.
with him. Yeah, but
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I don't like that.
So to answer your question, Alex, I think I will never, just having played sports, I will never believe that these professional athletes that anything's scripted or that it's like they make things go a certain way to increase the entertainment value. Because in football, for example, when you have a livelihood on the line, you're trying to provide for your family, and like you got to go play the sport. That's your purpose. That's your, you're doing it to provide for your family. Like you're not going to go out there and not give it your all. And so I have a hard time I know they make jokes about like, oh, the NFL script got leaked or, stuff like that. And I'll just never buy into that. As a competitor, I don't think you don't get into those sports thinking like, oh yeah, I'll just do whatever the league tells me to do. Like, no, if you're a competitor, you're out there to win. No matter what the situation is, no matter how bad your team's been all season, you're going out every week and you want to win. So I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that things are scripted.
I think the only outlier to that was probably back in like the 70s, 80s when the mafia was really big and they were like threatening people to throw games for gambling purposes, which is still happening today. Probably not
I doubt it. Yeah.
I just know when there's money involved, you'll do some crazy things. So I don't see why people wouldn't do that.
That's true.
But
yeah. Well, speaking of boxing, these two very special guests with us, I've actually boxed with them in one of our friends' backyards, and it was actually hilarious because we set the rules we didn't have all the gear. We just had gloves and mouthpieces. And before we started, we were like, all right, no headshots. We're gonna play clean. We're just gonna box, do body shots, whatever. And Alex gets up to fight our other friend Gray, and I mean first punch straight to Gray's face. It was hilarious. And it just you didn't even mean to. It was just like
It was instinctual, man.
yeah.
As soon as that bell or whatever we used to start the match, you just kind of go into a different mode, and it's survival.
Yeah.
But I
It
forgot
was
I was
almost like
fighting Gray.
it was almost like Anchorman when they're about to fight. He's like, no touching of the hair or face. And
Yep.
then that's exactly what we said. And Alex went, yep, straight
Yeah.
there.
And then Josh, I remember you were fighting the other friend John,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys were just like not nonstop shots to the body back and
Kidney
forth,
shots.
yeah, like not letting up at all. I was just, gosh, we were idiots in high school, guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah. Super glad to have you guys on the podcast. And for our listeners, the reason we wanted to bring Alex and Josh on is they've actually started a business venture together. So they're both entrepreneurs. They started their business called Rhino Lift, which is their foundation repair company. I know you guys do more than that, but that's just the easiest way to kind of sum it up. So how about you both? Y'all can take turns. Josh, you can go first, and then Alex. But just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys kind of came to the place of starting Rhino Lift.
Well, obviously I've known you guys for, my entire life. I guess it kind of started in college. Me and Alex both went into App State, room together pretty much the whole time there. Had different majors. I was in construction management. He was in accounting. But I remember we used to meet in the basement room of our house down there. We would have little Monday morning meetings. We'd go down there and just say like, all right, we have to start a business. What can we start? What can we start? And obviously I had no idea. We didn't know what we were doing. But the kind of idea started, I guess, then, and we talked about it, and then graduated. I went and worked for some big construction companies, and then ended up going back, getting my MBA. And I started working for a startup in the foundation repair space because I'd worked for another company in college doing the same thing. And that's when I kind of realized, like, hey, this could be a good industry to kind of start a little side business on, make some more money. And then I got involved with kind of investor group, I guess you could say, out of Cornelius, starting a foundation repair company, and helped a guy start a company there. Stayed there for about 8 months, and then ended up leaving there. Hit up Alex and said, "Hey man, you want to go start a foundation repair company?" And he said yes, funny enough. So, and that's kind of where it kicked off at, I guess.
That's crazy because I didn't even know you guys were talking about starting a business in college. I didn't know it went back that far. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, we kind of conceptually talked about it for a while, just like, let's start a business when we graduate. But, you can say all that and have no idea what that actually means. But it's kind of funny that it all came to fruition, 5-6 years later, however long it was.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Alex, you go ahead and introduce yourself too.
Yeah, so I've known Tucker and Josh for 20 plus years and got to meet Johnny a couple years back. But pretty similar story. It's kind of hard when me and Josh go back and forth because it's pretty much the same story. But I would say, kind of started back when I was pretty young. My dad owned his own business and got to kind of learn a lot through him. And he was a really good mentor for me and a lot of wisdom and kind of guidance from him. And I don't know if that was kind of the start of it, but me and Josh started kind of having conversations in high school, then getting a little bit more serious once we got to college, having those conversations. And I mean, the ideas we had would have never worked ever that we had in that basement, but it was really just the persistence and the drive and just desire to want to go actually do that I think has gotten us to where we are now. And we were kind of trying to force something when it wasn't that timing. I think we needed to go kind of work for, a bigger company, kind of learn what that even means, what is actually a business. And I think me and Josh kind of did that for 3 or 4 years. And then Josh kind of got this opportunity and somehow roped me all into it. But we were pretty much both all in from there. So I've been doing it since 2022 and just about to finish up our second full year in business. It's going to be a crazy ride in 2025. So we're both excited.
Yeah, man. Brad's the GOAT. He's awesome. But yeah, I vividly remember going over to hang out at your house, Alex, and I don't even remember what we were doing. We were watching something else, and then you pulled up YouTube and started showing me how what do they call it? Helical
Oh, the helical piers.
helical piers. You showed me a YouTube video of like how that works and how you install it. And I mean, you were like pumped about getting into this. And I was like, I've never even heard of this. So this is fascinating that you guys are like starting a business with it. And I've just been super proud of you guys, just seeing the work you've put into it. And just like the Lord's favor that's been over it. I mean, you guys are killing it, and the Lord has grown you guys a ton. You know, since starting this business, obviously he's been working in all of our lives for a long time, but that's just been really cool to see as kind of a bystander, you know, as you guys are on this journey. And yeah, you've actually got to, you know, hire some of our other friends from high school and, you know, have them involved, which is cool. So yeah, it's just been a really cool journey. Like you guys are, I don't know a whole lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, so it's been cool to see it through you guys' lens, for sure. But I want to talk about, you know, entrepreneurship as a whole, because I know a lot of people out there do talk about it, and a lot of people, you know, throw around ideas and, you know, think about starting their own business, but it can be really difficult, and it's really like taking that initial jump, that initial risk, that leap of faith is what prevents a lot of people from taking that step. So, you know, for you guys, what kind of helped you take that leap? And then what would you say some of the pros and cons of being an entrepreneur business owner is?
Yeah, I guess I would say as far as what helped us take the leap, you know, I kind of took a premature leap before me and Alex actually started this business, and before I got involved with that investor group, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had, you know, a backlog of work and was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go, you know, jump out and see if I can do it. That lasted about, you know, 2-3 months, went well for 2-3 months until I ran out of work and I had no idea what marketing was. So I was like, okay, well, probably to learn some more skills here so that we can actually, you know, do a lot of work and then keep it flowing in. That way, you know, the well doesn't dry up at some point. So I'd say kind of a big differentiator for me was when I got involved with that investor group and that other startup. I actually had a salary at that point. So, you know, I wasn't, you know, starving for food or anything. And I got to learn so much in that 6-7 month period. So whenever me and Alex did start Rhino Lift, I kind of had a little bit of knowledge at that point. By no means did I know everything what I was doing, but I at least know how to conceptually get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah.
That was definitely a big thing for me. I'm an accountant. I come from that kind of background, got my CPA. So I'm a pretty conservative, not high risk person. So seeing that Josh had kind of got that experience and we were able to conceptualize it and draw a pretty big business plan, I was like, all right, there's something pretty tangible here. And there's a path where we are trying to go. Obviously that business plan we had, if we look back at it now, we've pretty much completely scrapped it and done something different. But, you know, there was kind of a plan there. So that gave me a lot of comfort. But, you know, as soon as I put my 2 weeks in at my other job and I woke up on my first day at this one, I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm my own boss. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've made a huge mistake. I'm not going to make any money for a long time, but it's just being persistent and just kind of each day getting a little bit better. And my goodness, I mean, the amount that we've grown since starting it has just been incredible. So
I'll say whenever I knew that we had a chance was that in high school and college, we came to Brad with so many different ideas. Like, hey, here's an idea for starting a business. What do you think about this? I mean, Alex would get lunch with him and he would, you know, pick it to pieces and we'd be like, all right, well, I guess we have to get back to the drawing board and start again. And whenever we told him about this one, he actually was like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I was like, all right, we got it. Let's go. Come on, Brad. Brad believes we're good.
Yeah. Oh, if he signs off on it, you're good to go.
Oh yeah. It's like, we're good. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the challenges you guys have faced since taking the leap?
You go ahead, Alex.
say some of the biggest challenges would be just trying to kind of separate business from your personal life. You know, for the first, I guess, 2 years, I mean, it was just nonstop grinding. Like if we quit for a moment, the whole business could kind of fall apart. And then as you gradually bring more people on, your responsibility increases because it's not just our job we're trying to worry about, it's them as well. and then our customers on top of that, and then our vendors, and now our investors. So that, I'm not gonna lie, it can get pretty stressful at times. So I think that's one of the toughest things. And one of the biggest things I've learned from that is just having a solid group of people around you to kind of navigate through that. Because I think me and Josh struggled a little bit with that at the start, just kind of isolating ourselves and putting all of our energy into this 24/7. And I think that burned us out a little bit, and it kind of fractured some relationships. And since we've kind of made that 180, I don't know, probably 6 months back, I mean, we're full of energy. We got a ton of people around us, and we're really starting to get some fuel in the tank, and it's been a huge game changer for us.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of echo what Alex said. I would agree with all that. But here, like you said, the last like 5 or 6 months, I would say we kind of realized like, hey, we can't keep running at this pace. We can't do everything. We can't make this business what we want to if me and you are trying to do everything. So, let's try to get the best talent we can with what we can afford. Let's get them in here. Let's delegate. Let's give them the tools they need to succeed and let them, get after it. We were in a conference last week, and this one older gentleman we were talking to was talking about, how do you define success for your employees? That's one thing me and Alex, I think, have been trying to, focus on the last couple of weeks here is let's get the right people in place. Let's give them the tools. Let's define what success looks like. And then let's just give them the keys and let them get after it. And that's worked a lot better for sure. You can't just always start like that because, you don't have any money. So you got to have to start with just, you and, whoever the ground level people are doing all the work and working all those hours. But yeah, I'd say that's a pro is seeing all the hard work kind of come to fruition now. One of the cons is, you have to put in those 80, 90-hour weeks in the first year or two to make it happen. And that definitely can put a strain on some other things. But we've come a long way on that, on the relationship front for sure too, and our kind of work-life balance.
Yeah, I mean, I've even seen that and been a part of it. I've mentioned on the podcast before that I meet with a group of friends and we've been studying Proverbs together. Well, these are two of the guys that, I meet with, and that started within the past year. So probably around the time that, you guys are saying you kind of made that shift is probably when it started. And it's just been so good for all of us, I think. Like, even though we can't be there all the time, like, hit or miss on who can be there every week. But we just decided at the beginning, we're like, you know what? We're just going to pick a date or a day of the week and a time to meet. And if you could be there, great. If not, we're going to meet anyways. And I feel like that's worked really well for us because if you just try and work around people's schedules and calendars, you'll just end up not doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, it's been cool to see or be on the receiving end of you guys prioritizing relationships and making time for that. So yeah, it's cool that you guys realized you needed that to do business well. So yeah, Johnny, you got anything you want to ask him?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, being an entrepreneur is like the American dream. Kind of what America is like proud of, being a capitalist economy. And it sounds like y'all are everything that you're learning in your business. You're not just like you are separating, work in your own personal life, but you're also allowing the things you're learning at work. You're allowing you're able to see that through a lens of how you can improve on yourself. So because being an entrepreneur is like the American dream, this podcast is about what it's like to be a man in today's world. Like, what are some goals as a man that you learned through being an entrepreneur that could help our listener here become a better man of themselves?
Yeah, I would say, you definitely need persistence to make this happen. I think that's the one thing I learned from the startup before we started Rhino Lift was just persistence, that you can't see that light at the end of the tunnel, but you just got to keep going, keep going. But with that, I've also learned here recently, you can't just white knuckle everything and just keep saying, all right, I'm just going to keep grinding, because you'll burn yourself out. Me personally, I wasn't taking care of my mental health, my physical health, my relational health. I was just kind of, all right, we got to get to this point. Once we get to X amount of dollars in revenue, then I could start taking care of myself again. And it just doesn't work like that because you'll burn yourself out too quick and you won't make it. So part of that persistence I've learned, I guess, through being an entrepreneur now is like, I have to take care of myself, physical health. I got to work out. I need to take care of my mental health. I need to take care of my relationships with people. That's one thing I've definitely learned here recently for sure. It's been good.
Yeah, no, that's we've talked about that on here before, but consistency matters way more than just getting everything fast and
Right.
right away. That's the world we live in, is we want instant gratification. I actually sent Johnny a quote about this very thing earlier this week, but we want instant gratification, but the scriptures talk about being faithful, or this like type of faithfulness. And I love the definition John Mark Comer gives to it. It's long obedience in the same direction in a world of instant gratification.
Right.
Long obedience in the same direction and it's the same with, if you're starting a business, you got to have like the long view in mind and just stack those consistent habits, those consistent practices and processes, and that's what makes it successful in the long run. I love that you talked about, prioritizing your own health so that you can do well for your employees and your customers, and I think that's so important to not work from an empty cup.
Yeah, 100%. And we definitely, when we started the business, we weren't, we had some pretty audacious goals. We didn't have extremely long horizon, I guess I would say. We were thinking kind of short term, like how do we just get to next week? And it was causing us to work too much and make short-term decisions. But we kind of flipped that and said, all right, let's make long-term decisions. Let's think long-term. And we don't have to have everything done tomorrow. I think I was putting a lot of pressure on us to get everything figured out by, next month. We have to get to this revenue mark by next month. But no, like you said, it's that slow persistency and consistency. Like it's not all going to happen tomorrow, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the white knuckle thing, I like that, because just because you're working hard, if you're working hard but not having any improvement, then you're wasting it around, and
Right.
you're like you can't just keep white knuckling it, think something's going to change. You have to work hard the right way.
Yeah.
Like if you're working out and or like, let's say like doing something like squatting, but you have a bad formation, even though you might be lifting a lot of weight, you're going to hurt your body. So
Right.
you were saying is like your own personal life is affecting but you thought, hey, I just need to work hard and then it'll get better. Like that's
Right.
not the case. And that's really good for a lot of guys to know, is because I think all guy mentality is that's just like, the Todd Childers song, Nose to the Grindstone, like just keep your head down and work hard and it'll get better eventually. I mean, it will if you're doing it the right way. If you're doing it the wrong way, you're going to stay in that rut forever.
Yep. Exactly right.
Alex, you got anything you want to say in regards to Johnny's question?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think me and Josh tell each other this every morning, but it's just being persistent. That is the number one word that defines it. And no pun intended, but kind of, if our foundations aren't in order, then how in the heck are we going to help repair somebody else's? So we got to make sure we're in a really good spot with our, not in a selfish way, but just like, you got to kind of take care of your own house, get your things in order. And then if you can do that, then you're going to be far more successful with helping other people. And we're a service-based business, so that allows us to serve our customers better, our employees better, shareholders, everybody who's involved. As if, me and Josh going to look to ourselves and make sure we're good before we try and do anything else.
That's a good word, Alex. That'll preach.
Yep.
I love that. How can we repair anyone else's foundation if we don't have ours first?
Y'all need to have that in your office, man.
Yeah.
It just came to me when Johnny said it. So
yeah, y'all need to like hang that up all over the office.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, what would you? So speaking of building a good, solid foundation for yourselves personally, what are some ways that you guys go about doing that? I know Josh, you mentioned working out, and Alex, I know you do that as well, and eating right, all those things. But as far as like, not getting overwhelmed, not getting burned out, your mental health, what are some things y'all do to help in that area?
Yeah, definitely working out helps me physically and mentally, I would say. I would say our Tuesday night Bible study helps me out a lot. All of us guys getting there, talking about what's going on throughout the week. We're getting in the Word. It's, that's always uplifting, and it kind of brings some clarity whenever we, need someone else to speak into our lives. I would say, what are some other things? Just getting in the Word more. I'm trying to get in the Word every single morning and spend some kind of quiet time in prayer. That's helped me a lot. Just kind of meditating and thinking and slowing it down a little bit. And there was kind of came to me a couple months ago. I realized there was like some skills that I didn't understand or have. So I went to a Christian counselor that, just speak to someone to kind of try to acquire these skills that I was missing. And it's funny. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about, if you have a plumbing leak in your house, you call a plumber. If you have a heating and cooling problem, you call a heating and cooling guy. If we have a mental health problem, or we're having trouble relationally or emotionally, like, where do we go? Well, why don't we call the plumber? Which, like a counselor or someone like that. And they said that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Why would you not call someone that is an expert in that specific field? So that's been very helpful.
Yeah. So what, if you don't mind me asking, what are like the skills you felt like you needed that led you to go to counseling?
Yeah, I think I struggled emotionally connecting with people. That's kind of a maybe an ambiguous term, but I could feel that I was struggling to emotionally connect with people. I was struggling with empathy, just all sorts of relationships. I think some of that comes from how we grew up. Myself specifically, I would say, like, playing sports, you learn a lot of really good things from football and playing sports, and, kind of suck it up, rub some dirt on it and keep going. But, also there comes a point where you have to be able to empathize with people, show compassion, emotionally connect with them. And I think I was struggling with that. And I wanted to be able to do that. So one, I could have better relationships with friends, family, partners, as well as our employees. If I can't empathize with them, show compassion, see where they're coming from, how am I supposed to be a good leader? So those were some skills that I could see that I was lacking, that I wanted to go talk to someone and try to, learn those skills.
Yeah. I think it's so awesome that you did that. I remember when you first told me, man, I was super proud of you. And like, our other friend, him and his fiance have been going to a couples counselor, and like, I honestly, like, y'all going through that inspired Haley and I to see a couples counselor. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but like, it's not like the world doesn't have to be falling down before you go and do that.
Yeah.
Like, it could be, to the plumber analogy, you could just be having this like slow, steady leak. It's not breaking anything. It's not ruining your house, but like,
Right.
you just need to go fix it before it does become a big problem, or like,
Yeah.
just be proactive with it. And, so yeah, super proud of you for taking that step. And I feel you on the, needing to grow in that area. And yeah, so much of our emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, does have to do with how we grew up, and just, how we were raised. And, it's definitely a learning curve. And so, yeah, seeking out help for that is a really good thing.
Yeah.
And it can be really eye-opening.
I think society nowadays too with men is just like, it is that, like, it seems like it's changing maybe a little bit, but it's, hey, bear down, white knuckle, keep going, don't say anything. You guys need to work harder, rub some dirt on it, get up, suck it up, which I think there's a fine balance between, like, yeah, you can't just, falter under the smallest little inconvenience in your life, but also you can't just white knuckle everything and never deal with things. I guess there's like a fine balance there, I feel like.
Yeah, that's where I just feel like that's part of the wisdom of Christianity, right? Of following Jesus, is like the scriptures, and Jesus presents like, hey, if you follow me, you'll have the hope, you'll have the tools, you'll have the things you need to push through some really difficult things, and to come out on the other side better for it, while also simultaneously saying, but we need to feel those things. We need to be honest about where we're at as we're going through it, as we're pushing through it. And that's where I feel like this disconnect is in society, is, in Christianity, yeah, we want to be strong men that push through difficult things, that like face challenges head on, that don't, back away from doing difficult things and uncomfortable things. But we don't want to just do that and say, forget our emotions, we're going to leave those behind and just stuff them down and not talk about it. Like, Christianity would say, no, like, yeah, be strong, go take these challenges on head on, push through, man up would be the word. Like, yeah, do that, but also acknowledge your emotions along the way, take them to the Lord, take them to people you trust, like, be honest. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Alex, I don't know if you have anything you want to add as far as like stuff you do.
You had a pretty big impact on this change in my life, but I think you're the one who told me what gets scheduled is what gets done. So I've gotten pretty religious about my schedule. And if you don't do that, I mean, you can walk into work and think you got a lot done, but you didn't accomplish a single thing. So I think that's been really huge for me and Josh. Every morning we say, what are the priorities? What do we need to do? We put it on the schedule in our business life, but also in our personal life. My wonderful wife created me a shared calendar, so I know what I need to do on the weekends, and I'm adding to it, so I'm not leaving her in the dark on things. So I'm not, planning a golf trip with you guys, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to be doing some event, that was already scheduled. So
that's wisdom right there.
Oh yeah. Hey, shared calendars, man.
Yeah.
Game changing help to your marriage.
Yeah. So that's been good because that allows you to then create boundaries. So then you're not overworking yourself. You schedule things out for you to go and do and make sure you keep accountable to. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go back on, just for multiple times, both Josh and Alex, y'all both have said, I didn't know how to do this, or with your company and your own personal life. And the last podcast we talked about always be an active learner in life. Have y'all always been that way? Because y'all have not said that, but y'all have showed examples. So have you always been an active learner? Because it shows like humility, or is it something that changed? Or like, okay, no, I need to get out of this rut and do this. Like, what makes you want to be an active learner in all areas of your life?
I feel like I've always been a pretty curious person, and I've never really been content with what I know. I've always wanted to know more. I think it's a big thing that propelled me to get my master's, and why I probably listen to podcasts and YouTube videos religiously is just because I want to consume more and learn more. I try to practice humility. It's not to say I always do it perfectly. There's definitely been times where I've been cocky in this business, like, oh, I know this better than this person. Let's do this because I know this, and then it ended up being a completely wrong decision. You guys know me well. I mean, you probably never 50 years would ever thought I would go to a counselor, but it worked out. And, God humbled me and said, yeah, you need to go do this. So, it worked out. I was pretty nervous going into it because, I thought I was going to be laying down on some couch. He was going to be hypnotizing me, trying to pinpoint this one specific time in my past where everything went wrong. But that wasn't what it is. It's, really just trying to work through things, asking questions and listening. And that's, it's been good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing with counseling is it just creates the space for self-reflection, and counselors are just good at like asking the right questions that make you reflect and like
for sure
make you think about yourself in a different way, different perspective. So yeah, that is really good. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I would say I think me and Josh recognize this pretty quickly with the type of business we're in. We're in a blue collar trade business, and I think we were looking up a stat when we first started this business. There was some article that had come out, and it said, I think like 75% of business owners in the blue collar space are 45 and older, and like 5% are in the 20 to 30 range. So we knew we were in kind of our own little category, and there was a lot to learn from people that have been in this business for a long time. So we actually went to it was like a little event, basically like a foundation rescue supply, put it on, and we were the youngest people there amongst all these other business owners, and just learning that like, hey, if we just shut up and listen to these people, we're going to learn like nobody else. So obviously we're confident, we're younger guys, we want to be innovative, we want to bring cool things to the industry, but sometimes you just need to be quiet and listen to these people that have done it, and that's helped us a ton.
And they're happy to. That's one thing we've learned is like if you ask people for help, especially these older guys that have a ton of wisdom, like usually they're pretty happy and open to share this with you. They're not closed off. They want to talk about it. They want to share their experiences to help you help you see around some corners per se.
Yeah, there's a book, and Alex, I know you've read it, and Josh, I'm not sure if you have, but it's an old book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that's one of the things he talks about is like, people love it, and this is just human nature. People love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and ask somebody for help, that scratches their ego, and they're like, oh, like this person wants to learn from me. Wow, that makes me feel pretty good about myself. Of course, I would love to, help. And so yeah, it's so true. Like I feel like we oftentimes wig ourselves out about asking people for help, and we don't want to like burden somebody or like, take up their time, but people are so much more willing to help than we give them credit for. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. And it's good that you guys recognize that early on rather than just going in all cocky and arrogant like a Jake Paul. just trying to wing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not from the construction industry, so I knew if I tried to go in there and talk construction, I was going to fall out through seconds. So I took that mentality pretty early on. And Josh has been in the industry for I don't know, probably a decade at that point, but even both of us just humbling ourselves, it's been huge.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way when I went into the construction industry. I was like, I'm not gonna come in here acting like I know what I'm talking about. I was like, I mean, I know people and I know how to build relationships, so like, I feel confident in that. But anything else, I can't help you. So yeah, I just kind of took, even with customers, that was my mentality. Is like, I'm gonna take the position of, hey, I want to learn from you. Like,
100%.
I want to bring stuff, or I position myself more as like, I'm here to help you and serve you. I don't know it all, but I can find somebody who does. Like, and humility and integrity goes such a long way in business. And I know, you guys are building your business that way. And that's part of the reason you've been able to have some early success, I believe, is because you're doing it the right way and building it up the right way. But I just thought one more question I'd love to ask you guys. And speaking of the construction industry, I know the statistics out there are like, mental health is a huge, huge issue in blue collar type of jobs and in construction. So, I don't know if you guys have seen any of that with your employees or in the specific industry that you're in. But do you feel like the weight of that at all in what you guys are doing?
Hmm.
Good question. I think there's
Sometimes.
definitely a lot of people that don't say anything, and everybody can kind of act macho. You don't know, like you don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
I'm in construction. You have that whole stereotype there. But I think there's probably a huge field out there that we can help with in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, think about the sports we played growing up, played football, baseball, and then, been in construction pretty much my entire life. So it's like macho, macho, macho. It's like the only things I've been in. And, they're humans just like the rest of us. Everyone has issues we got to deal with. But yeah, I would say definitely in the blue collar trade, it's a lot more push it down, don't deal with it, toughen up, keep going. And like we talked about before, that's good in some instances, but at the same time, you also have to deal with things. So, it's definitely a big opportunity for some good things to happen in the blue collar industry as far as mental health goes.
Yeah. And I think the leadership of a business really does set the tone for the culture. And I know you guys have such a positive mindset, and just the way you carry yourselves, I'm sure makes a huge difference for your employees. Yeah, I've been a part of places where if you just have people running around like complaining and gossiping and all of that stuff, that can kill momentum and kill, a business moving forward so fast. And so knowing that from a leadership level, you guys, carry yourselves the right way, you lead in such a way that people can follow. I think that's really important. So yeah, kudos to you guys. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to jump on and just talk through, your journey as entrepreneurs and business owners. You guys were part of a milestone episode for us. We've never had two guests on before, so this is the first ever. Yeah.
No, but yeah,
Respect.
y'all are killing it.
What
Right
was that?
now. No, I was saying y'all are killing it right now. Like the way y'all are leading in a way of just being humbled by that is really cool. And like just going off of Tucker. So like, thank you for sharing. Like, I haven't known y'all for that long, but I'm like extremely proud of you just from this story I've heard. So it's always really cool. So please continue, and if you need any help or anything, like reach out to us and keep being a dog out there, guys.
Have us on again after Tennessee beats Georgia next year, and then
Nah,
hopefully we'll be.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah, ain't gonna happen. You know what? Actually, I don't like you anymore. I'm just kidding. You're not as
I
cool
take
as I
back
thought.
everything I just said.
Yeah,
Take back,
like everything I
take it all
just
back.
said. Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, I do want to say, announce who won our giveaway for the Tennessee Georgia game. So, if you didn't know, we did a giveaway leading up to the game. where you had to do some stuff on Instagram and you got entered into a random drawing. So I put all the names on this randomizer wheel app on my phone. And so the winner gets a 20-ounce Yeti tumbler with their team's favorite logo on it. So the winner ended up being Stephen Appel, who Johnny and I were like, man, that's the Lord, because he's listened to like every episode of our podcast. He's like posting about it on Instagram all the time. So the fact that he won made Johnny and I so happy.
Let's go, Steven.
Yes. Thank you, Steven.
Attaboy, Steven.
Team. Yeah.
Yeah. And I gave him a sticker of our logo this week, and he was like so honored that I gave him a sticker. But
I need to meet him.
Steven's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already know what team he's going to get. He's a big Oregon fan. He's a West Coast guy, lived in LA for a long time. And so, he's a Ducks fan. So we'll have to get him an Oregon Yeti.
Everyone has their flaws.
They had a close game last night.
Yeah,
they had
they
a
did.
very close game.
It did.
All right. Well, Josh, Alex, thank you guys again. If you're listening out there, be like Josh and Alex. Go be a dog today.
And be like Josh and Alex and go be there for your dogs.